least educated person in my entire family. I used to earn 14 rupees a month, which used to be 3 rupee 50 paise Indian rupees. I had no capital to invest into any business model. You have to be fact with your background and who you are. That mall was at that point of time valued at more than 20 crores. This is a almost 20 years old story. It was valued at more than 20 crores.
Tell us about the problems, self-doubts, because all of us go through self-doubts at some point. I still go through some self-doubts. I don't know about you, which we'll talk about, but tell us about this journey. What was your biggest setback? Did you ever think entrepreneurship is not for me? Here's another episode of Deep Talks. Today, we have someone with us who I've had the pleasure of knowing for many, many years. A man who lives and breathes business and does so with the energy levels that are truly unmatched. Whether you call him at 7 in the morning or at midnight, he has the same energy levels. And I've tested this theory and experiment a few times before, which we will talk about a little later. Rajesh is a serial entrepreneur. He runs multiple businesses in various different industries. In fact, I call him Network King because he's truly a king of networking. Spending 2 hours with him is like doing an MBA course. So let's dive in and meet Rajesh. Rajesh, welcome to Deep Talks.
Thank you, Jatin. It's always a pleasure meeting you in Dubai, and I'm looking forward for this interesting conversation. And friends, I've known Jatin for many, many years. He's a very interesting and a very inspiring entrepreneur himself. One of the best events that I've ever attended in my life are organized by Jatin, not only in India, but also in Dubai, more so in Dubai. And he has also done this in India, and it's been a wonderful experience attending his events. I'm here for his event, which I'll be attending tomorrow and day after. So looking forward for our conversation, Jatin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. And I remember a very interesting story from my event in India, which you had attended, which we'll talk about a little later. But before we dive into some really serious stuff, I want to ask you about your energy levels. I've done this experiment with a friend of mine who came over, and I told him about you. And obviously, you are a dynamic personality, you are. And I told him that it was, 12 midnight in Dubai, so about 1:30 in the morning in India. And I told him, even if I call Rajesh right now, he'll answer with the same level of energy. And we experimented that, and it really was the way it was. You answered with high energy. Hi, Jatin, how are you? How do you and where do you get this energy from?
So, Jatin, I'm always high on life because I realize it's one life that you live and make it to the fullest. So excitement in the voice is all about a lot of things that you keep processing all the time. And I basically am a people's person. I love people. I've got a very powerful ecosystem, and anybody from my ecosystem connecting to me excites me as soon as I pick up the call or I meet them in person. So it's all about the thrill of life that you enjoy. It's a life that you have created out of the choices and the decisions that you have made, the choices you have made and the decisions that you have taken. So that excitement always reflects in how you behave when you interact with people, whether it is in person or whether it is over a digital device like a smartphone or a laptop on a Zoom call. So I'm high on life and I love it that way.
But then that's like calling you at 1:30 or 6 in the morning. When do you sleep?
Well, I love to sleep not more than 4 to 6 hours. Most of the times I'm awake because I do a lot of activities, and I have got activities running around across the world. So I'm available in different time zones.
Right.
So at every given point of time, my mind is absolutely alert. There is a list of people who can bypass the silent mode of my mobile and reach out to me. You are one of them. So whenever the bell rings, I love to pick it up on the first ring. So I am built that way. And I tell my people, my friends, my near and dear ones whom I care for and who care for me, that communication should be so proactive and so prompt that the other person needs to get addicted to you to an extent that they talk about it behind your back, which is what exactly you did with your friend. And I absolutely responded in that pace, and you were true to what you said to your friend. So I think it's more over here in the mind and how you program as you progress in life.
Wonderful. But we could try to be you, but it's really impossible. I don't think I can match your energy. But let's go back a little and before you started your first business, tell us a little bit about your life before being an entrepreneur?
I was always an entrepreneur, Jatin, right from the age of 13 when I used to, when I was in school and when I started working, because I come from a very challenging economic background. So I
Yeah.
realized that the only one who can change my fortunes and my fate is my efforts and my initiative. So right from a very young age, I've been blessed that I could get opportunities to create activities which would make me financially independent. So right from the age of 13, I started becoming independent. I used to earn 14 rupees a month, which used to be 3 rupee 50 paise Indian rupees per week. And that's when I came to know what is a weekly earning system, weekly earning mechanism.
Right.
A weekly payout is popular in the Western countries, in the US, in Europe, and stuff like that. But in India, the pattern is monthly payments. But at a very young age, a tender age of 13, the place where I used to do my activity, it was a bindi factory. They used to make a payout on every weekly basis. So that's where I came to know about weekly payouts. And that was my first revenue stream at the age of 13. It was so exciting to earn at such a tender and a young age, where my thoughts became very clear that if I want to change my situation, my scenario, and the world around me and the life around me, I need to be initiating it myself. And that's what I did very effectively. And then it's an addiction. When you achieve something on your own, you become more excited to achieve more. And that's the life story that I have lived. So that more and more and more has brought me to where I am today. And it's very important to begin early. It's very important to start earning early, because the real life experience is the best qualification or education one can ever take.
Yeah.
I've got two kids, Sasha, my daughter, and Aryan J is my son. And I keep telling them that the knowledge that you take in the four walls of the classrooms is valuable. But what's more valuable is how you deploy that in the real world.
In real world. So you started at 13.
Yes.
And your first encounter with entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Tell us about your education then, because if you're, as you said, it's addiction, right? You start making money, and then you think, oh, maybe education is not that important. Tell us about your education.
Fortunately, I'm a graduate, but I'm the least educated person in my entire family. My wife is an MBA. My children are getting very, very well qualified. Both are pursuing law, BBA, LLB.
Right.
I've got two brothers. One lives in London, one lives in Mumbai. He was in New Zealand. He came back to Mumbai. Both of them have done MBA from London and from New Zealand. So I'm the least qualified guy. I wanted to become a chartered accountant in my life, but I could not take up that responsibility because during my young years of college period, you had to do articleship for 3 years, where you could get paid as low as 350 rupees per month. Now that was economically not feasible for me, because I was a supporting member in my family as far as revenue generation is concerned. My parents never wanted the money that I earned, but then I felt it as a moral responsibility for me, because my dad and my mom were very hardworking parents because of the economically challenging background that I had. But they never expected anything from me. But it was my moral responsibility. I became matured at a very young age.
Right.
That I thought that I need to contribute so that my family can have better days, especially my younger two siblings. So the brother after me was 5 years younger to me, and the youngest brother was 9 years younger to me. So I was like a father figure to them. So this was great motivation in life. I've been so God blessed to have a challenging economic background, a very close-knit family, good brothers, fantastic God-like parents, like most of us do have similar parents. And that motivated me to go ahead in life.
Right. But it's interesting when you say that, you started at 13 and, you've done your graduation, and once you tasted a little bit of success in entrepreneurship and you wanted to do more and more and more, and you became successful. But obviously, with all the wisdom that you're talking right now, it just didn't happen overnight. It must have taken a toll. It must have created a lot of setbacks. Tell us about the problems. I mean, self-doubts, because all of us go through self-doubts at some point. I still go through some self-doubts. I don't know about you, which we'll talk about, but tell us about this journey. What was your biggest setback? Did you ever think entrepreneurship is not for me? I need to do something else. Tell us about that.
Well, excitement was built throughout my life because I came in from nowhere. So every situation was a better situation than the previous situation. Every day was a better day from the previous day. So whatever I was achieving was a milestone going forward. Fortunately, instant decision making helped me. And what helped me the most is the revenue generation period of my life along with my college education. So those 5 critical years of my life, because I'm only a BCom graduate, so 11th, 12th, FY BCom, SY BCom and TY BCom were the graduation years of my life. And that period of self-entrepreneurship, like self-employment, were the best years of my life. And I used to be a door-to-door salesman where I used to keep ringing the bells of the doors, where some doors opened up and they abused me. Some doors opened up, people opened up the doors and they also opened up their hearts. They welcomed me and bought whether they needed it or not. And I started generating revenues. So every situation was a better situation than the previous situation. And at that point of time, I had no capital to invest into any business model. So that's where you learn negotiation skills of life. So I could convince, I used to sell clothes, cosmetics, Venky's chicken, Payal chappals, perfumes. I used to take this from the dealers and retail it myself. Now, I didn't have the money to pay. So I used to convince the dealers that I will pay this, I will earn my profits and give you the capital back. Matlab, I will give you the money that you have given me, the goods that you have given me on credit. So that way I could convince them. And let me tell you, Jatin, one very interesting aspect of life. In my life ever, I've never been refused for asking anything from anybody. Now, जीवन में बेशरम होना बहुत जरूरी है. You have to be fact with your background and who you are. And if you speak the truth with conviction, there are people in the ecosystem who will buy your conviction and support you whatever you want to achieve. Right. Whether it was the computers that I bought on installment systems or whether the clothes, cosmetics, Venky's chicken, Payal chappals or perfumes that I went selling door to door, everywhere I took the stock on credit, sold it and then paid back the people and bought more stock. So conviction is critically important, honesty is critically important, and the opposite person, that's where you learn communication skills because you're taking away money from them in the form of their goods and then you're selling it and then giving back their own original amounts that has to be paid. Yeah. So this required a lot of persistence, consistency, truthfulness, honesty, and never give up attitude.
Right.
When I used to ring the bells of doors, I had doors banging back on my face. Without losing an iota of enthusiasm, I used to still ring the next doorbell with the expectation that there is a buyer behind this door.
Right.
So that made me, so I had a very close friend of mine in school and his father used to have a very famous dialogue which is imprinted on my subconscious mind. जिसने की शर्म उसके फूटे करम और जिसने की बेशर्माई उसको मिली दूध मलाई. Right. Now this is a very powerful statement in Hindi lingo which says that if you're not ashamed of anything, you will definitely achieve success. Yeah. And that's what I kept doing repeatedly then. And that's what I keep doing repeatedly now. It absolutely doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'm also a real estate developer. Let me give you another success story that I took a mall which was dysfunctional by paying a token. That mall was at that point of time valued at more than 20 crores. This is a almost 20 years old story. It was valued at more than 20 crores. And I gave a token of 101 rupee for demolishing the mall and we developing it back as a residential complex. Now, 20 years back, somebody could believe your confidence and your conviction for a token amount of just 101 rupees. That speaks volumes about what you can dare to ask and what you can dare to get.
Right.
You get me?
Yeah. So like they say, if you don't ask, the answer is anyway no.
Absolutely. Even when you go to a temple or your place of worship, even there you pray. Now, what is a prayer? You are specifically asking the Lord Almighty on what do you expect Him to support you for.
Yeah, true.
And that's why you get what you ask. Now, you need to be intelligent enough to ask the right thing. Yeah. So I cannot be asking God that I want to drive the biggest vehicle in the world. So please empower me to do that. He will make me a train driver.
Yeah.
Or a bus driver.
Right.
I need to be specific in my prayers. Similarly, whenever I'm asking somebody of something, I need to be specific in my ask. At the same time, I need to have a plan in place to explain to the person that I'm asking on what is my ask supported with.
Right.
You get me? And then you also need to keep building your credibility and your performance track record, which will help you to achieve better ask in the future.
Absolutely.
And you need to fulfill your commitment because a man is defined and understood by the quantum, the quality, and the speed with which he keeps up his commitments.
Yeah.
So life is all about fulfillments. Life is all about commitments and creating evidences of the promises you made and the proof that you delivered that those promises were that the promises were completed.
Right. So it all boils down over a period of time to ownership and accountability. Is what you're
all
saying.
the time. All the
So
time.
now when you put your name into a business,
Yes.
it will automatically grow because people have worked with you for the last X, Y, Z decades and they believe in you. They have trust in you. They know that when you put your name in something, you'll deliver. And the society is paying you basically for this trust.
Absolutely.
Right.
You need to build the robustness and the belief of your ecosystem or the world around you
Yes.
that if this gentleman is involved, whatever he will say will be done.
Yeah.
Now, with that conviction, the right people from the society join your journey and then you
Yes.
become robust.
Yes.
So the value of a human being is not dependent on the assets that he has and the money that he has in his bank balance or in his banks. The asset that a human being has is the quantum and the type and the quality of people who are associated with him in his life and who can stand with him the way he stands with them when they need you.
Correct.
So this is to be testified over a period of time.
Yeah.
So I've got friendships right from the day that I've gained consciousness in this life.
Yeah.
So that would have been as early as 13, 14 years of my age. Since then, so majority of my friends are 2 decades old, more than 2 decades
Yeah.
old. We know each other for almost a decade.
Yes.
So that's how. And nurturing a relationship is critically important. It is as good as nurturing a plant which will bear fruits one day for you.
Yeah.
So you really need to nurture your relationship. And I love to say that relationship is the strongest ship in which you can travel your journey of life.
Right.
It just needs to be nurtured well. You just need to define the expectations correctly and ensure that those expectations are met, not only for you, but to the people who set expectations from you.
Absolutely. And I can vouch for that. And there's a story for our audience here. So I remember when we were doing World Realty Congress in Bangalore, IRECMIS in Bangalore. And obviously Rajesh comes from Bombay in India. And when I was doing this event in Bangalore, I requested Rajesh if he could make it for the event from Mumbai, from Bombay, and get a few people with him. And Rajesh, one of the days told me, Jatin, don't worry, this is your event and I know you do good events. It's really good for us to attend. I'll get about 25 people with me. And I was like, are you sure you're going to get 25 people from Bombay? And I remember that morning at 8 o'clock, I got a call from Rajesh. I was in Bangalore. We are all set. And Rajesh tells me, we've just landed. I said, how many people are you, Rajesh? He's like, oh, I committed 25. We are 25 people. And this is what I can vouch for about you nurturing relationships. And this is also the accountability and the ownership. I know if I have to work with you and whatever you commit, you're going to fulfill. And society as a whole pays you for it over time. So well done. I mean, this is inspiring. And I've always been inspired by you. One other question is, Rajesh, now, I know that you're successful in so many verticals. Which is that one vertical out of many things you do that is close to your heart?
Education.
Sorry?
Education.
Education.
So I started an organization called St. Angelo's Computers Limited in the year 1993. So that's almost 31 years back.
Right.
And through that activity of mine, that gave me the visibility with the society and the emotional bonding and connectivity with people who are now established across the world. So St. Angelo's Computers Limited was the company which brought computer education within the reach of a common man in a very important city like Mumbai, which is the financial capital of a powerful country, our powerful country, India. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction because I could change the fortunes of people who paid me a couple of thousands as fees and they are earning in lakhs today, and that has set up their life. They got recognized in the society and they play critical roles with the organizations that they are a part of, or the organizations that they started on the knowledge that they got at St. Angelo's Computers Limited. So I'm a serial entrepreneur like how you introduced me. For me, any business that I venture out into, it has to have some basic fulfillment parameters. Like for example, I will never venture into a business which does not have a social impact. For me, the word impact is critically important. So if it creates an impact, I become a part of that business or that part of that business journey. With St. Angelo's Computers Limited, that's what I did. I created a powerful impact on every student who paid me that fees, that small fees with which I could change their future.
Right.
So impact is what excites me. The other business that I'm very proudly associated with is with the real estate development business. So the people who bought the real estate which I developed and constructed for them has multifold increased in their valuation, which created a strong future for the people who bought those assets from me. So it's critically important on what value addition that you can do to your customers who are funding your happiness and your future by they being my customers.
Right.
That's what I do with my restaurant chain. That's what I do with multiple other companies that I've been an investor with as a strategic investor. So it's critically important that we need to create an impact to every customer who contributes to the success of your life by the way of being a customer.
Right. Yeah. So, which is fair. Now, let me ask you this question in a slightly different way. You run multiple businesses, right? And you're working, I don't know, 16 hours a day, safe to say?
14 to 16 hours a day average.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
My calendar has only Mondays.
That's
And I love Mondays.
Yeah, I love Mondays too. But how would you, for example, how do you define your enough, right? You're working every single day. Every day is a Monday, 14 to 16 hour shifts. Do you have a definition of enough, or you want to just keep moving in this direction as long as you can?
So my life is of achievements, not balance sheets or profit and loss accounts. I never meet my chartered accountant for 2 to 3 years. No shortcuts in anything. You just keep doing achievements. It is the activity which excites me.
Yeah.
I'm not a balance sheet guy. I'm not a profit and loss account guy. What I love to do is create achievements, build milestones, and walk journey with people together. So whether it was computer education, whether it is real estate development, whether it is restaurants, or whether it is multiple other businesses that I'm associated with, the pleasure of working with other aspirational entrepreneur gives me that joy.
Right.
Now, I come with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and daring to do the business. Yeah. So for me, it is achievements and milestones that matter. It is never the profit and loss accounts and the balance sheet. Although, in spite of not focusing on them, they are very strong.
Yeah.
They are very strong. But that's not my focal point. That's not my focal point. Impact-based business, great entrepreneurs with great teams, and I'm their backbone.
Right.
That's what I like to do.
Right. Now, what I mean to ask you, let's say, I remember this ages ago, I was going, so for audience, I was going for a bike riding trip to Ladakh for about 10 days, 9 nights, 10 days. And I remember asking you, Rajesh, do you want to join me for this trip? It's going to be in the mountains, just breaking free from work. And the first thing you asked me was, Jatin, do we have network there? I said, no, I don't think you'll get networks. It's high up in the mountains. You won't get network. So you wouldn't take any time off where you don't have network or where you don't have connectivity to run the business. Do you not take any breaks?
I absolutely never take a break, but I believe in a very strong statement that I love to say, that if you enjoy what you do, life is a picnic. So I'm the part of a Chamber of Commerce, and we have traveled 82 countries in the last 18 to 19 years. Now, traveling is one of the best teachers because you can see the future of what's going to be happening in India, which is already happening there in the developed countries. So I have traveled to more than 82 countries. That's been a great teacher because you meet people, you learn, and then you start implementing it when you go back home. So every awakened moment for me is a learning process which I immediately implement it in the business that I do. I love to say that no idea is good enough if it is not implemented. So you learn something and you immediately implement it. So all the time I'm in the work mode. Now you will be surprised to know this, that I went to the US first time in 2006, and at that point of time mobile phones were very expensive, especially the international calls. I had students paying me as less as 1,500 rupees for a course that they were doing at St. Angelo's Computers Limited. I think I went in 2004 for the first time. That time also, if my student, so my mobile number used to be printed on all the institutes of St. Angelo's Computers Limited.
Right.
And I have never had a life where I have not picked up an incoming call. Right. So even if I am in the US.
How many students did you have?
Oh, I have trained in totality 450,000 students.
Wow.
At any given point of time, we used to have around 12 to 15,000 students.
And your mobile number was in your business card.
On the notice board on my business card. And whenever they used to call me, now they didn't know that I'm in America. I would have spoken to a student over a period of time where the cost of that one phone call would have been more than 1,500 rupees, which is the fees that the student would have paid. But I was always accessible and I was always accountable. And that's how I lived a life of an entrepreneur. So nothing matters than satisfying your customers. There are multiple stakeholders in a business. It is your customers, it is your teams, it is your vendors, it is the government. Now, these are the people who are associated with you 24/7, and you need to be accountable and accessible to all the stakeholders, and only then you can be progressively successful as an entrepreneur.
Right.
So, never a dull moment in life, but at the same time, no holidays.
Yeah.
For me, because I don't consider my work as work, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, I will get bored if I'll not do something in a day. So I've never really switched off my mobile or something of that sort. I love to go on cruise liners, but the only reluctance that I always have is the mobile connectivity. And fortunately now in the last 10, 12, 15 years, even on cruise lines, you have got mobile access. At least the WhatsApp can come and go. So that keeps you going.
Right. But we're on a short trip on this planet, right? I mean, if you're lucky 75, 80 years, So if you look back at that time and you look back at your entire journey, as you said, no holidays, work. I mean, that keeps you going, that keeps you happy. Do you think at that time, when you're at that edge, you look back and you'll be like, have any sort of regrets on just working and not taking your time off? Or you're 100% sure that even at that time, you'll be like, I did live the best life?
So I love to keep telling people, never have a life of regret.
Right.
Do not regret anything that you have done, because it has added to your life in some form or the other. So there is nothing that's negative in this world. People are always negative or positively negative is what I tell people. So never have regrets, and every situation has taught you something. Now, it's not that mishaps haven't happened in my life. It would have happened in a transaction. It would have happened in a partnership. But I look at the positive sides of those things. I say that whatever happens, happens for the best. Again, a very powerful statement of not only my life, but a life of a lot of people around me and in the world. Everything has added and contributed something better to what has happened in your life. As simple as that.
Right.
If my friend has met with an accident and broken a leg, I tell him, thank God, God blessed you by only a broken leg.
Yeah.
At least you have your life to live back and correct your physical hurt that you must have faced and come back to life again. He wanted you to slow down. So whatever happens, absolutely happens for the best.
There's a learning.
There is a learning. I feel you're the best teacher to your mind. How you program your mind matters a lot. Fortunately for me, all the collection of the people that I have in my life are absolutely positive people. Now you choose the people in your life. The way you choose your spouse or your business partner or your vendor or your teammate or your CEO, it's the outcome of the choices that you have made. If you choose the right set of people in your life, you will absolutely have it at a very different way on how you learn from them, consciously or subconsciously, and that's how you become as a personality.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I have been blessed with such good people that there were never any regrets in life. It's not a right point to have a regret in life. So I translated and converted every aspect that must have not gone as per my expectation to a learning moment and moved ahead in life.
Right.
Secondly, never looking back. If you look back, you have to just look at the positive things that have happened, which have propelled you further in life.
Right.
Any regrettable moments, just delete them from your memory. Of course, they have taught you something. Remember the lessons, but forget the episode.
Right. So as the great Steve Jobs once said, some years you win and some years you learn.
Absolutely. And he said one more thing.
Yeah.
Life is all about the connecting of dot backwards.
Yeah.
And make sure you use it rightly in the dots that you're creating forwards.
Going forward.
So
Yeah.
the dots backwards and forwards stitch up your life the way you desired it.
The legendary
Steve Jobs, one of my most favorite people.
I'm back using
The iPhone.
I use the Fold for a bit.
Absolutely.
You're an iPhone user.
All
right?
the time.
All the
Right from the day it was born.
Yeah. When this was iPhone was 2005, I think.
2005, 6, something at that
Around
time.
that time.
And we experienced the new world. Whatever we used to think and imagine was actually in your hands, because In our school days, I used to see fictional episodes like Star Trek. So whatever was there in Star Trek that we saw as fiction is today a reality. A touch phone, a mobile phone,
True.
Talking over devices which are not wired. So that was fiction in my childhood, which is today a reality.
Yeah, interesting
So,
what the world will be in 20, 30 years from now.
100%.
Because the technology is getting better at a rapid
Absolutely.
pace than it
Absolutely.
did any time in history, right?
Absolutely.
So apart from business, I know now we know about, business is something that keeps you happy. But apart from business, what are the things that you do that keep you going?
So
Non-business stuff.
60% of my time is not in revenue generating productive activities. It is creating solutions for the people in my ecosystem.
Right.
I believe, like the word impact, I believe in the word called ecosystem. So your worth, the worth of your ecosystem. And how can you build an ecosystem? By being useful to the people in your ecosystem. So 60% of my time goes in supporting people with solutions to the imaginary problems most of the times that people face. But it is solving somebody's situation. And in solving that, you automatically become a better solver to any situation that you would face. So 60% of time goes in that, and 40% is my productive time where I'm associated with activities which are revenue generating to me and the people associated with me. So that's how my life is divided. It is 60-40. Subsequently, probably in the near future, it will become 80-20. 80 problem solving to somebody else and 20 for revenue generation for myself. And I enjoy it in that proportion and in that formula and in that format.
Right.
And I love it.
I need to be more talking to you more often and get into that the 40% of revenue generating.
But we have had so many conversations where we have ideated on so many elements.
Absolutely.
So that's nothing but solving an imaginary situation.
Yes.
And I'm sure it must have worked. At least half of that must have worked for you.
And indeed one day doing some venture together.
100%.
Raj, what we'll do now is do a quick rapid fire. I'm going to ask you some questions just so that our audience gets to know you a little bit better, right? And the answers have to be like real quick.
Done.
Right? Okay. So are you a morning person or a night person?
A night person. The day never ends for me.
Right. You're a book person or a movie person?
Movie person. I can write books after I see a movie.
You're an author as well.
Yes, I've written
How many books
three
have you
books.
written?
Three books. Out of which 2 have been published by the Times of India.
Oh, brilliant. Right. Work hard or work smart?
Work smart with a lot of hard work in backing the smart work.
That's a smart answer. A place you'd love to visit again?
St. Petersburg. I love it.
Is it? Any reason?
It's mind-blowing. The infrastructure, the people, the architecture. It is so magical that when I was there, I've been there only once. I already made up my mind that once again I'll come back.
Is it?
Yes,
right,
it's beautiful.
I should visit. Okay. If you were not an entrepreneur, what would you be?
Well, I would have loved to be an IPS or an IS officer and be a part of the government machinery where you could add a lot of value to the people where you would have been posted. I admire people who are IS and IPS officers because they are the people who run the country effectively and efficiently for the benefits of the people. Majority of them do that.
Right. Happiness or success?
Happiness. No compromise. For me, happiness is success.
Right.
And happiness is mandatory. So not only happiness for yourself, but you need to be responsible for the happiness of the people around you. So definitely happiness.
Right. So one thing people often misunderstand about you.
One thing, that I'm too aggressive.
Right.
I'm extremely aggressive. So I tell people...
So they don't misunderstand.
But I tell people that I can be useful to you because I'm aggressive. If I'm not aggressive, I'm not of any use to you.
Right. Okay. Well, if you could time travel, would you go in the past or the future?
Future.
Why?
Multiply it with the past experience.
Right. Okay. And in one word, if you had to describe yourself?
In one word, if I want to describe myself, daring. I love to do unknown things. Right. And my life is a compilation of activities which I have done by being in the unknown zone. But I give myself a learning period of not more than 90 days.
Right.
Within 90 days, I have to master the activity that I have indulged into for the first time. So that's the speed of my learning. On the higher side, it is 90 days. On the 90th day, you will not be able to differentiate that the business that I've got into for the first time, I have known it only for the last 90 days.
Right.
So that's how I do
Interesting.
it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for the rapid fire. I don't think I've had any guest who answered all the questions so promptly.
It was my pleasure, absolutely my pleasure, Jatin, and I'm sure we'll keep doing great things together.
Yeah. So one thing I want to ask you, and this is a very questions that a lot of people are they keep asking themselves and others. Are you happy in life?
Extremely happy. Extremely happy because being grateful is another source of being happy. And I've been grateful to who I was, what I was, to where I have traveled to, and to where I'm going to be traveling. So I'm absolutely grateful to all the people who touched my life, all the situations which taught me life, and all the opportunities that came in my life.
Right. I think you also, the way you are such a positive person, you attract a lot of these things.
Yes.
As you said, you have a lot of positive friends. I think you've subconsciously attracted these friends into your life, people into your life.
Life is made of three words. One is your manifestation. You really need to believe in that.
Yeah.
Second is your manifestation should be so powerful that the law of attraction in your life brings the right elements to you. And the third is destiny. You need to reshape what was destined for you. So these three words in that sequence: manifestation, law of attraction, and destiny. And collectively, all these three elements in your life, you need to create an impact, because people will forget what you said, but people will never forget what you made them feel and what you did for them.
Yes. Well, I can't believe you have time for manifestation.
I manifest 24/7 in every activity and action that I do.
Yeah. Well.
And I live that way.
Right. Well, okay. I mean, thank you, Rajesh. This was such a great chat, like always. I every time I meet you, I feel there is this energy in you which is very contagious. And like I said at the start of this podcast, that talking to you every single time feels like I've done a business course, a course in positivity. It just makes me, deep dive into my own consciousness and think, look, there are greater things to be done, big businesses to be done. And I really want to thank you for, I think I've manifested you having you in my life. So thank you so much for joining me in the podcast today. It was a great chat. I've taken a lot of feedbacks, learnings from you. And hopefully, we'll be on another show very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Jatin. And whatever you said, the feelings are mutual. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.